This show is part of the Miles Offside Podcast Network. Visit twitter.com/milesoffsidepod for more information. And now, on with the show. And welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside Podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nonsense. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy from Afar, and with me, as always, and I do genuinely mean as always, is my co-host Chuck Bailey.
Sorry, I get Bon Jovi in my head every time I hear that.
So, no Ian this week, which means we can talk about the stuff we actually care about.
Boo! How dare he go on a holiday?
Yeah, he's off drinking fruity drinks on the beach somewhere. Looks like, just giving all his pictures, his sexy, sexy pictures.
He has been sending us pictures of his thighs. Don't quite know how I feel about it.
Wearing sunnies, which is not a common thing for English people to be spotted in.
No, especially not those in the Midlands.
So question for you then. Spider-Man, no longer in the MCU. Discuss.
I like that this is where we're going straight away, because Ian's not here, like he's normally our rudder. Disney will end up throwing a fuckload of money at it, I guess. You can't take it out. You can't take out Spider-Man, and you can't switch Tom Holland to another character.
Yeah, I think they could, though.
But they couldn't even reference it, because they wouldn't be able to reference him being Peter Parker, would they?
No, not at all. But he could say that he's like, you know, just don't give him a name. I don't know. He doesn't owe Sony any more movies. Did you see him at D23?
No, I didn't.
He came out on stage because he was already planned to be there.
Right.
Even though in the week leading up to it was when like all the shit went down with Sony.
Uh-huh.
And he just went on stage and he just like told the crowd, "I love you 3000 and thank you for your support." And he was like so sad, you could really tell.
Because he was Spider-Man and he was the best Spider-Man ever.
I know, and he was a huge Spider-Man fan before he even like started.
Yeah.
Like there was pictures of him from like 3 years before he got cast as a kid in a Spider-Man costume just being like, "Spider-Man is great." So, super sad. All right, I guess we should talk about actual soccer stuff. But if you are joining us for the first time, or you came back from recent episodes because you're one of the new listeners that we have in, Chuck, why don't you tell the people where we charted this week?
9th most popular football pod in Malaysia. There we go.
There it is. Thank you, Malaysia. We love you, but still, our hearts belong to Virginia for the time being because that is our biggest demographic. So we do love you guys.
It's VA.
Over in Virginia. Breaking. I have a message from Mr. Ian Stimson just sent over the chat. He said, wanted to talk about Posh a little bit. Let me know if it's okay or whether there's anything else I should include. Sat on my own with a beer in the pool.
It's not a beer. He's got a strawberry daiquiri. He just doesn't want to make us jealous.
I think he finished that because this time he said he's with a beer, so he's probably working his way through them drinks.
All inclusive, baby.
Let's see what our esteemed super producer has to say for himself.
Hello, boys. Very sorry I can't be with you, but obviously I'm on holiday, and a holiday that has been made immeasurably better by Chuck texting me is it a recipe for a cocktail, Miami Vice, which is basically a mix of pina colada and frozen strawberry daiquiri, which is the fucking best thing I've drank since
Everyone
I've been
should listen to me.
I'm going to be on them all the time. They make like a pink milkshake-looking sludge, which makes me look super manly as well. Just a little note as well. I mean, I thought we don't often. All our teams won this week, and we don't often get that. And mostly it's Palace and Peterborough letting the side down, but Palace beat Man United and Peterborough beat the fucking plastic MK Dons 4-0 away from home. So I just wanted to record a little fuck yeah to that. So enjoy yourself, boys. Very sorry not to be there, but I'm also not sorry. I'm going to drink another Miami Vice. They're already kicking in. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, Oscar. Bye.
The man's shit-faced.
He's definitely been hitting the Miami Vices already. You can tell. You know, if I was like a good producer, I would have dropped that clip in somehow, but instead I'm just playing it from my phone.
No. Nah, why make the work for yourself? Mm-hmm. Doesn't it make you a better producer if you don't have to do as much production?
That might be the true key to being a super duper producer, which none of us have attained yet.
No, not yet. Ian's on his way.
All right. Well, we do apologize for what will inevitably be poor audio quality after I'm done poorly editing this and throwing it back together and hoping to release in a couple of hours, because normally we release on Wednesdays. So, but thank you for joining us. We're always happy to have new listeners. If you're returning listeners, what are you doing? You should have gotten out after one episode. Not really sure what's going on there.
Stop. Just stop being self-destructive.
I can't help it, Chuck.
Stay with us, please.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it, as we always do, with our rapid fire news.
Let's face it, you're not putting that in post.
I don't even know where that audio file is, so definitely not.
Ian brings out a keyboard every time.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's start with the stories that really matter. It is obviously been at the top of the headlines recently. Kind of sad situation going on in football. Huge loss for the game. Alexis Sanchez is set to join Inter Milan on loan from Manchester United. Inter Milan have agreed a loan deal to sign the forward Antonio Conte. Hey, look at him. Sign him before the transfer window. The European transfer window closes on Monday. And he will be joining ex-United teammate Romelu Lukaku. He's earning £400,000 a week.
I mean, egg on my face, because I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago I said Inter Milan can't afford the kind of wages as the Premier League clubs, and now they've got Lukaku and Sanchez, which combined will probably be about 650k a week. It's an odd move for Inter. I think for Man United it's pretty good, but it's just a loan, isn't it? It's not even...
Yeah, just a loan. I already closed the story on my Chromebook.
Okay.
For the record, it is real early in the morning over here.
That's all we really need to know.
So I don't know if there's an option to buy or what. That story is long gone, but...
I just hope that Atom and Humber enjoy it. There we go.
There you go. Moving on. We're actually going to be rapid fire this week because I don't feel like editing 900 hours. So this is, Ian, if you're ever wondering what it takes for us to have a brisk episode,
just don't be here.
Just don't be here. There we go. Next story, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Galaxy striker, hints at Manchester United return. The 37-year-old Swede said, I could play easy in the Premier League, so if United needs me, I am here.
No, not going to happen.
Absolutely not. But do you think he could still do a job?
Probably, but I don't like him, so...
All right. So that sounds like a very quick thank you next.
You want me to do brisk fucking news, or what?
All right, let's keep going. This is fun. This is good. Let's see. What's the next biggest story? Neymar. PSG and Barcelona officials meet in Paris to discuss a deal.
Fuck's sake. Neymar is a prick. Next.
I mean, 170 million euros to be paid after a year-long loan, and potentially Dembele going in the other direction as well, on top of that. 170 is an insane amount. Do you think he's still worth that?
But it's all right, because Gerard Piqué just won €500,000 in the European Poker Stars tournament, or whatever it was. European
Did he really?
Poker Tour. Yeah. Him and Arturo Vidal were there, and Gerard Piqué just won like $500,000.
Good for him. Wow. How did I miss that when I was rounding up the fun news stories for this week?
I know, right?
Do you play poker? You ever played poker before?
I can play, but I'm not amazing. I enjoy it.
I do like a good poker game as well, but it's been
I
a long
like playing
time.
Cards.
It's fun.
Yeah, it formed the gambling habit that I used to have.
Sure, yeah. I mean, any kind of gambling, I'm sure, was what you needed back in the day. Whatever you could get your fix on.
Whatever I could get in there.
Virgil van Dijk, Lionel Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo are the shortlist for European Men's Player of the Year, UEFA Men's Player of the Year, which will be announced on Thursday. Last year, Luka Modric ended Ronaldo and Messi's dominance of the award, and Van Dijk will be hopeful to leave the duo empty-handed again. Do we think that Messi is going to win it for being single-handedly carrying Barca and having one of his best statistical years, or will his performance be discounted because they didn't really win or play to the level as a team that they usually do? Will garbage human Cristiano Ronaldo have anything actually to say about this award, or are they giving it to Van Dijk?
I think they're all kind of even in the you can say they kind of deserve it and don't deserve it. I'd say Ronaldo doesn't have a chance. Ronaldo shouldn't win it at all because he
shouldn't even be on there, I don't think.
No, not. And, you know, for the man who's all about stats, like, his stats have been shit since he went to Juve.
Yep.
For him, of course. Like,
sure, yeah. By very, like, high standards. But
Messi, like, Barcelona, I've watched 2 games. So I watched the Betis game recently where they went 1-0 down. And sure, they came back and it ended up like 5-2, but they still looked awful. And, of course, they lost in the first game of the season. And after 2 games, they were bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Technically, at one point. And so... But Messi is the one that carries them. And then
did you see Messi's kid celebrating the Betis goal?
Yes. I love that kid.
Adorable.
Yeah. Matteo. I think his name's Matteo.
Yeah, named after Kovacic, I believe.
Named after Dave.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
And apparently that's the son that's a massive wind-up who will play as Real Madrid on FIFA just to piss off his other brother and cheer for the enemy. So, yeah, I like that.
All right.
But to wrap it up, Messi should win. There we go.
Fair enough. Do you think that it's a bit harsh that there's no Man City representation? I think they were not even arguably. I think they were clearly the best team in the world last year.
But they're a team of stars that all perform as a team. They're not, apart from maybe Sterling, you can't really pin one player down as exceptional above all of the others.
Fair enough.
Like they're at such a high level. That
so you're not saying Vincent Kompany should have been nominated?
No.
Interesting.
Oh, speaking of Vincent Kompany, R.I.P. in peace, his player-manager career.
I know, going right down.
Sad.
So
very sad. But then Rooney's going to be Derby, so, you know.
Yeah. I would also give it to Messi, for the record. But let's keep it moving. Carly Lloyd, U.S. Women's World Cup winner and star of the U.S. team, has she has been invited by an NFL team to try playing at kicker in their final preseason game to see if it might be something that could be viable long term. What do you think about that?
They've spoken... Harry Kane's mentioned before about going to the NFL and said that, like, it's an option for him and he could go be a kicker and, like, you know, you just generally have a nice time because your job is smash a ball really far and that's about it. I find it interesting that, especially in such a physical sport where injuries are so prevalent due to the fact that you can fearlessly launch yourself at people because of the amount of padding you have. So I find it quite interesting that seems to be the sport where, first of all, we're getting the male-female cross as opposed to maybe that happening in her sport of football as it is. But that's interesting.
I think it's specifically because she's going in at kicker that she doesn't have to, like, really worrying about being tackled that much. Like, the kickers are usually the smallest people on the field. Too. She was invited by the Philadelphia Eagles, but then one of the executives of the Bears said, honestly, I don't think it will be a long time before we see a woman break through the NFL barrier. I'd give her a tryout. So, 2 teams now sort of mentioning her.
Yeah.
I think that could be really cool. She's got a fucking hell of a foot on her.
I think so, but if what you're saying is that they're putting them in a kicker position because it's less chance of being tackled or whatever, but then you just know that they aren't really going to run any trick plays then because they aren't going to risk her getting decapitated by like an 8-foot tall juggernaut.
Yeah. No, that does sort of limit them. But I agree. I do think it's only a matter of time before we see women in the NFL. There's no specific rule barring it, I believe. I'm not a huge NFL guy myself, really, but like in the basketball, you know, there's the WNBA. Soccer has the Women's Soccer League. They're definitely separated out in most sports, but there is no, as far as I know, like women's professional American football. So That would make sense. All right, and we get to finally the actual big story of the week, and sad times over in England. Is it Barry?
Barry.
Yeah, Bury have...
Unless you're Northern, and then it's Bury.
Bury. Okay, well, Bury/Barry/Bury, depending, I don't know. maybe, have been kicked out of the Football League. After 134 years, they have been thrown out after having money problems, and Bolton have been told that they have 2 weeks to get their shit together before they are also expelled. Talk to me about that. What's going on there? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it a little bit before with it happening in recent memory. I think Maidstone was the only team I can kind of remember. Obviously, then there's teams like AFC Wimbledon that have formed, but that's more from clubs moving on. But I mean, it's a big shame. It's a big shame for both Bury fans who are now in limbo as to where they will be put in the football pyramid, as it were. You don't know if they're going to be moved down to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th tier, even further out of like the 11 tiers that would qualify for the FA Cup. So it's a big shame for them. There's the similar situation with Bolton, but I think they've been given more extensions because of, it's been for a longer time they've been able to prove that they can financially afford it. So
right, and they're a much bigger name. Like, I had never heard of Bury, but I do know Bolton. They were obviously in the Premier League relatively recently.
Yeah, not that long ago. I think maybe Bury because they just got promoted to League One.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of why, like, they were having financial problems and they thought the promotion would help them, but then I'm not entirely sure of all of the whys and wherefores that led to this.
There have been, just looking at this BBC article, a couple of relatively recent examples of clubs that sort of faced a similar fate and then were resurrected by the fans. So Darlington FC in 2012 and Clydebank FC in 2003.
Okay.
Who had a 2-year gap, and there's a few clubs further back in the like 60s and stuff who sort of went away for a few years and then eventually came back.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the type of thing that, like, with all the coverage this is getting, that they could be saved by the fans and after a couple of years? Or?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happens because naturally they'll have to go for a reset. So once the club's in liquidation, as we've said before, they just sell off all the assets. So there won't be a stadium, there won't be any training ground, anything like that. So they're going to have to start from the beginning again. Usually when that happens, I mean, again, to use the AFC Wimbledon example, there is a real great following to the club, and it kind of starts to gain momentum, and people want to come and help out, whether that's kind of older ex-pros who are retiring or such like, to try and show their support to get a team back up. Although I think that it's such a shame that it's happened, I don't necessarily agree with what a lot of people have been saying, that other big clubs should bail them out and pay, and the league should pay, because ultimately now the way football is it's a business, and so if you can't run the business in the correct way, then you shouldn't just get bailouts of that, because people get pissed off about government bailouts.
Sure, in
the past as well. So I think just because it's football, which is something that we don't necessarily associate with being the same as a regular company, people seem to think that should happen, because you just get into a dangerous principle then, that what clubs will do is just spend money they're never going to have, and just be like, right, give me my money now, please, to keep us going.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that the owner of Bury is the complete cunt, and I don't completely sympathise and feel bad. But you know what? If this is what it takes to galvanise all the fans, and they can then form their own club, like, it's happened before, why can't they do it again? And they'll be back. That's simply it. It won't go away. It's just a shit situation for them to be in now. And while they wait to find out where they're going to be, and also for Bolton to not know what is going to happen at all.
Yeah, and all our sort of sympathies, if there are any listeners out there who are supporters of the club, or, know someone who works for the club, because, that's really, I think, the saddest thing today. Is as sad as it is for the fans, there's a lot of people who lost their jobs, which sucks. So all our best to all of those peoples, and good luck to Bolton, who I remember being one of the first English clubs I ever heard of because of Stuart Holden, who played there for like a week before he ended his career tragically. with all sorts of weird knee injuries and stuff. But, yeah, all the best to all those supporters and those clubs. Which means it's now time to get to the actual fixtures.
What happened this weekend? Can't really remember. Was there
nothing big? I don't think. Let's talk about let's just start off with like the most important match, right? Might as well just get into it. Wolverhampton Wanderers won. Burnley won.
Give you that Burnley stat fact, yo.
Let's see. Burnley actually did good for once.
What?
Yeah, like genuinely, they generated, according to Kaylee, 1.6 on XG against Wolves on the road.
Oh.
To which his caption to his XG map was, "Wait, Burnley what?"
They underperformed for once.
Yeah, 1.6 and they only scored 1, which is like weird. I don't actually want to talk about this match, but
I was just saying how long you could kind of string it along.
Yeah, pretend that I actually care about it. Let's go to the actually good matches this time. Let's just go right into it with yours, right? Let's not go chronologically or anything.
Yeah, what happened? What was that?
Crystal Palace 2,
What?
Manchester United 1. The Burnley of the Week award going to your beloved Crystal Palace, pulling one off on Manchester United. Rough XG sum for Manchester United, 1.6 plus a penalty, so putting them at 2.6 really. Crystal Palace, 0.9. The actual scoreline, 1-2. So you guys doubled and they less than halved.
With the Burnley of the Week. It was pretty good. I was at a wedding. We were queuing up at the time to say congratulations to the bride and the groom and have photos taken while I had my phone out and was celebrating. Well, first of all, there was the standard dejection of, oh, yeah, there you go, Daniel James, 89th minute. That sounds about right.
Nice goal, too.
Yeah.
Gotta give him props for that.
But he shouldn't be celebrating it like that. Like, I saw there's the picture that's around at the minute of, I think it's Rashford with the ball in his arm and Martial behind him, like, going to grab him and pull him back whilst he's not celebrating, but he's doing, like, the Mbappe thing. And it's like, you need to understand you're at a club bigger than Swansea now. Like, you don't
right.
You don't. If you play for Man United, like in that situation, putting aside my Palace bias, because obviously I have that, and I can get into a wank fest later if you want.
Oh, let's just get into it now.
But Man United shouldn't be celebrating last-minute equalisers or 89th-minute equalisers to get a point at home against a team like Palace. You shouldn't be. It should just be, get the fuck back, right, we're going to push now to win this.
Yeah, of course. And notoriously Palace, who have not done well at Old Trafford over the years.
No. The only time we've won at Old Trafford in my lifetime was... It's maybe 2000... it's like 2010, 11, and that was in like the FA Cup. And that's the only time we've beaten Man United.
It's been like 34 or 35 years, right, since you won in the league there.
I think it was 89.
Holy shit.
Mark Bright scored twice, so 30 years, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's 89 years. Oh, 1989.
Oh,
okay. I was like, holy shit, that's way worse than I thought.
No, 30 years. And so it was fucking amazing, especially with the bookends of losing to Sheffield United last week and losing to Colchester on penalties yesterday. So, you know, that's what can just bring you straight back down to earth. And as I said in episode 2 last week, that it will be the typical Palace thing that we get possibly at least a point from Man United and win at the Etihad and all this bollocks. But we played to a system. Jordan Ayew's amazing. He's going to win the Golden Boot. And it's just good to see Man United lose. And, you know...
Always good.
Yeah, you know, they've won 3 out of 15, I think, now in the league.
To their credit, though, Manchester United did control this game. Like, they were easily the better team, and on another day they would have won 3-1.
Yeah, probably. But they didn't.
But they didn't. You got to be riding pretty high. How are you feeling about your chances this season after that? Like, that always kind of invigorates. You were low for the last couple of weeks.
No, it just brings me back to the same, like I said before, when we were winning 1-0, I was like, this will be the typical Palace thing now, because we'll either throw away the 1-0 lead, or like last season, we were 2-0 up at Old Trafford, I think.
Oh.
We were 2-0 up at half-time and then lost 3-2. And so this year was 1-0 up, and I was like, well, it'll be the typical Palace, either we lose this game, from a leading position, or we win it, which is typical after losing the week before against Sheffield United in one of the worst displays of football like anyone's ever seen. But I think it's still wait and see. We've still got, we haven't really played any of the new signings much. So it was great to see Cahill getting a start as well. So it's good to see he's fit. And makes sense as well because you need someone with a bit of experience in that team with so much inconsistency at the back. I mean, there was a stat the other week that I think the starting back four for the first game of the season was Joel Ward, Scott Dan, Martin Kelly and Patrick Van Arnholt. And 3 or 4 seasons ago on the opening day of the season, the only difference to that back four was Breda Hangeland instead of Patrick Van Arnholt. So it just shows that even though in 4 seasons, technically due to injuries, etc., that our back four hadn't changed, apart from we've got Van Arnholt instead of... Well, Van Arnholt was playing left-back instead of Martin Kelly, and Breda Hangeland was in centre-back. So I was still very wait and see. But that was bloody lovely.
Yeah. So did you ever make it to the front of the line to wish the bride and groom congratulations?
I did. I did wish them congratulations and everything. I didn't mention the football to every man, woman and dog there. I could have done, really, because the guy was from Leeds, so potentially could have been some Man United haters in there. But I just had a wicked good time and drank a shitload of booze.
I remember. You were sending us videos of you singing...
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Africa by Toto or something, right?
I mean, I sang that, but the reason I got that in my head was because there was the Shakira Waka Waka.
Oh, Waka Waka. Yeah, that's right.
Just
Waka
playing.
Waka, hey. Yeah, you were real fucking drunk.
It was... Okay, so at dinner... Well, I mean, before we got to the reception, we'd had like 3 drinks each. And then we had a few more drinks. And then at dinner, normally at a wedding... They walk around with, like, wine and, like, would you like some white wine or red wine? Like, yes, I would. So I had a cocktail, like, sat down, I got some white wine, and then I turned around and they had a tray with, like, double shots of whiskey on it. I was like, okay, I'll take some whiskey, like, that would be nice, and have a few around the table. Then they just put down a double shot of vodka, and I'm like, oh, shit. So I've got 4 drinks. So we did, like, a little toast, and we had the shot of vodka, and then I turned around and I'm talking to my girlfriend, and then I turned back and the glass is refilled. I'm like, shit. So I hadn't even eaten my starter yet, and I'd had like 3 double vodka shots on top of all the other drinks.
Jesus
and it was
Christ.
amazing. So if you ever want to go to get invited to a Lithuanian wedding, guys, go. That's the sidebar. Right. So yeah, 2-1 Palace Man United.
Well, if Palace are running out a very old defence full of, or not full of, but with a notable former Chelsea player, I think that's a good transition to the other match that has to do with us this week, which is Norwich, and I will continue to say Norwich. Norwich 2, Chelsea 3. Chelsea running out their youngest lineup since 1994.
Wow.
Which is really cool to see. 1.0 to Norwich on XG, Chelsea 1.9, so both of them kind of gained a goal, which is within the realm of variance. But both of these teams are going to be insane to watch this year. Chelsea are like so young and inexperienced that we got cut apart again many times by Norwich.
Yeah. Chelsea...
but we looked super fun going forward.
Chelsea looked good on the ball, like, don't get me wrong, but then the second they lose the ball, it seems to be like headless chickens a little bit. Like, they don't really know what's going on, and they can't stop teams. Even with... Did Kante play in this?
Kante did not, and neither did Rudiger, which, as Piliqueta, does look totally lost. Like, he's been getting a lot of shit in the Chelsea fan community on Twitter and stuff, or rather within certain circles, I'll say, which is insane to me because Aspie is like our captain and probably one of, if not the best defenders in the league. Maybe not so much anymore with Van Dijk and Wan-Bissaka coming up, but still one of. And so he has looked lost. I think he's trying to do too much, so he's like running in, he's running out, and he's kind of all over the place, which is no good. It looks like Lampard is doing the same thing Sarri did, though, which is that he likes Conte more of a box-to-box type guy than a classic, destroyer, just sit at the base of the midfield 3 and,
disrupt.
Clean everything up. So that is, something to keep an eye on because Conte would be sort of what helps the defense a lot. And I don't even have the excuse of Emerson and Luiz anymore. Like, Luiz notably showing up in Arsenal's lineup doing what he did to us last year. And I love that man, but he did not have a good day. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on, but I do think it's going to get better when Rudiger comes back. I just, fully think that he's going to help out. Because right now, one of our 4 defenders is, actually good at defending. Christensen's there for his ball progression. Emerson is doing just an Alonso and, popping up all over the place up front, but not so much in defense.
Yeah.
And Zuma's got problems. Zuma's just got problems. So.
Yeah, his head is just not in it this season. But
no, it sucks because I liked him a lot when he was younger, but he has not had a good few years on loan, and now he comes back and he seems kind of a shell of the young, exciting player that he could have been.
But at least Tammy Abraham's not cursed anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And Pulisic had a great game. Drew the defenders away for one of the goals for Mason Mount's goal, and then laid it off perfectly right in the box to him. Mason Mount obviously scoring. He's on fire. It's good times, man. It's really good times. We have one more match till the international break, then Callum will be back after.
Oh, wow.
Willian is back. It's good times, man. I'm just, super into it, super excited. But.
Yeah, it is. I think as long as you come to terms with the fact this year that there are going to be... Chelsea are going to get some shit results, and if they play the way they did against Norwich, against, say, Man City... I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea could lose one of those games 5-0. If they don't...
Oh, yeah, that's
if
totally fine.
Yeah, is it? But it's just one of those seasons where you just have to come to terms and, take the rough with the smooth. But I don't know, in a way, it's kind of like Liverpool 3 seasons ago, where it's we can't really defend, so we're just going to score a fuckload of goals.
I'm here for it.
I enjoy people scoring goals. My team don't do it enough, so...
Yeah, definitely. I think, people think that I'm just kind of putting it on, being yay, Chelsea, good times. I don't care that we're losing. I don't care that we draw. I don't care that Norwich scored 2 on us. But I do genuinely mean that shit. I came into this season knowing that it was going to be a rough time in certain spells and in certain matches. And, when we conceded, I was yep, that happens. But we're fun to watch. The youngest team, the young guys, the academy guys are the ones leading the charge and scoring the goals. Callum and Ruben will be back soon. I'm just feeling good.
Yeah, I think
honestly.
So. And I think the barometer is where you see maybe after about 10 to 15 games where you actually are in the table.
Yeah, I'm also happy with where we are in the table. We're tied with Tottenham and United on points as much as everyone's talking about how Tottenham are so great.
Oh yeah.
End of the day, we're still there with them.
Yeah.
And we're ahead of Arsenal on expected points, which is always nice.
It means nothing at this point in the season. I mean,
it doesn't. That's true.
Match of the day, I don't think they ever used to show the league table until at least 5 weeks in.
Which is fair enough, yeah. I would even say 10 weeks in, but...
Yeah, because at the minute, you've got, Chelsea are in 13th and Man United are in 5th, but 5th to 14th have the same number of points. Everyone's on 4 points. So...
Right, exactly, yeah. Well, I mentioned Arsenal there. That's a good place to sort of move over to that match. I think that was the biggest match of the weekend, if not necessarily the most exciting. Liverpool... 1.9 XG plus a penalty, so 2.9, scoring 3, so pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
And Arsenal 0.8, scoring 1, so final scoreline 3-1, and it pretty much exactly matches the XG. Arsenal do not look good. And I think that 3 games, looking at their performances, not the results, is enough that I would be concerned if I was an Arsenal fan.
But I think kind of as we just said about Chelsea... I think Arsenal just need to play to their strengths in that they don't have a defence. You don't add David Luiz, no offence, some offence, and sort out, those defensive problems. I mean, case in point is this week where he just decides to pull Mo Salah's shirt back for a fucking
horrible
mile.
Decision making. Really bad decision making.
Yeah, nearly rips the shirt off his back. And, for once, Salah didn't go down as early as he could have, which is good, to give away a penalty, which then, of course, Salah buries. And then he does that classic thing of charging up at 30, 40 yards outside of the goal to chase down one of the fastest players in the league, and who just taps the ball around him and bypasses him. his decision making is so shit. Like,
it's really erratic. It is.
I messaged you the day after, but surely now, like, seeing him in a different team's colours, like, you must be able to appreciate that it's a good thing he's gone.
I love that man. He was probably tied with Ruben for my favorite Chelsea player before he left, because he's so entertaining as a human being, and, like...
Live the life!
He's so skilled on the ball that it's really, really, like, a pleasure to get to watch him. But yeah, his decision-making in defensive positions has always been questionable, let's say.
Yeah, which is
I believe one of the best ways I heard it described back in the day was that he plays like a teenager with an Xbox controller on FIFA.
Yeah.
Just full send all the way. So yeah, it is pretty funny to watch him doing it to Arsenal now instead of to us. But I love that man unconditionally, and I will never not. Is the story here, though, Arsenal, or is the story Liverpool? I can't decide.
Well, it's hard when you don't like either of them.
So the Gunners tried to park the bus here, right? Like that's
which is insane.
Yeah,
like you're not going to be able to do that, and that makes no sense. And then Liverpool are just
first of all, they're not good enough to do that, and it's hard to do that at Anfield anyway. Like even for a good team, it'd be hard to do that at Anfield for 90 minutes.
Yeah, and Liverpool's unbeaten. What is it now, like 60-game run or something stupid at Anfield? That's not that much. That's definitely exaggeration because that's like 5 years.
Palace were the last team that won, I believe, right?
I believe we were, yes.
Isn't that thing where they won at, like, they're the last team to have won at Old Trafford, the Etihad, Anfield, and the Spurs Stadium? I forget who the fourth team was. But...
The Emirates and also Molineux, because no one wins at Wolves since about January, I think, as well.
There you go.
Yeah. But you don't go away and park the bus. Like, I'm sorry, not even Burnley do that in their Burnley way.
No, I mean Burnley are putting up 1.6 this weekend, so
yeah. I don't know. I think I would be quite worried to be Arsenal right now, but Pepe still hasn't played that much, has he? And Ceballos kind of had a bit of Jekyll and Hyde between the two games. Like in week 2, you were saying he looked really, really good. And
he did, yeah.
And then this week he was kind of anonymous.
Yeah, and I think to sort of keep it moving along, the other London team that I would be worried about, because both of them should be significantly better than Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
Yep.
I watched this game.
Tottenham losing to Newcastle at home. A bit of a slightly harsh result. They did 1.2 to 0.8 on XG, 0-1 the actual scoreline, so they slightly edged Newcastle. Probably, as Kaylee put it, him being a Spurs fan, Tottenham did enough to get a draw at home against Newcastle, but that is not exactly a compelling case for the quality of their performance.
No, they fucking sucked. That game was dull.
That was really bad. Yeah, they looked like totally lacking for creativity, Spurs.
Yeah, like no one wanted to like take that. You know, we said it when Ndombele got that absolute cracker. It was like there was just that moment out of nowhere that it just seems like they need. Like even Harry Kane wasn't really getting involved much, and it's kind of what we said based on like their game with Villa, that they don't just knock a team out and then go for it. Like they were behind. What, Newcastle scored early in the first half, right?
Yeah, I think it was like around the half hour mark.
Yeah, so that's early enough in the game that they should be like, right, sort our shit out now and go and absolutely try and dominate Newcastle, which they didn't. Like an hour of play, and you don't.
And it's
score.
not as if Newcastle are a good team.
No, they can't defend. Like.
And, like, the week before, they were great against Villa. They were genuinely great against Villa. I remember talking about how, like, oh, they might be back. They look for reals. Since then, sure, they played City, but they generated 0.07, not even 0.1 against City.
Yeah, and got a draw out of it, so...
Right, which was, So, I don't know. I would be slightly worried if I was Tottenham. Of the 3 big London teams, they're the one that are probably the best and should have the least cause for worry. But they should be a lot better. This is their chance, and it seems like we'll sort of keep an eye on that, but they should be running away already, and they don't, It's Newcastle, man. It's fucking Newcastle.
It's fucking Newcastle. Well, saying about the London thing and teams running away, the North London derby is this weekend, so it's on Sunday at 4:30. So that'll be kind of interesting, like, especially based on last week's performances. God knows how either team will be, but you'd like to hope that that game's actually going to have a bit of pace and a bit of intensity to it, and it's not just going to be a bit of a waste of time, because I don't think that would make either set of fans very happy.
No, I think both sets of fans are looking at this as something that they need to win to push on and be the best team in London this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to be a good one to keep an eye on, and something hopefully that they both go for, and we do get an exciting game, like you said. Speaking of exciting games and exciting teams, let's take it over to AFC Bournemouth versus Manchester City. Manchester City winning 3-1, posting 2.9, so pretty much spot on their XG. But Bournemouth posted 2.1 against City.
Wow.
Only scoring 1. So it was pretty much closer, a lot closer than it should have been. City looked vulnerable here, especially on the counterattack.
Yeah, there were quite a few moments where I thought, oh dear, like Bournemouth are actually going to do something. Especially after Harry Wilson's free kick, they kind of got their tails up a bit. And yeah, I mean, now that they brought in Rodri, who's going to take a little bit of time to settle in, like potentially that second centre-back spot is their weakest kind of place now, because Laporte is strong, but it's just not.
And Laporte might
cohesive.
be injured now too.
Oh, dang. And
which is no good for them.
But then again, it's like we said, they lost Company, who was he the best centre back in the league? No, but he was an incredible leader and incredibly organised. And as much as I think he's a fantastic player, like I don't see that from David Silva whatsoever as captain. Especially as it seems to be the reason he's been made captain is, well, the team did nominate and vote for him, but it's also because it's his last season at the club.
Right, exactly. That does seem like a sort of token.
Getting to be captain because it's your birthday kind of thing,
Exactly. Like, yeah. But they continue to be incredible in attack. We're basically looking for any sort of nits to pick at this point with City, and saying that like Bournemouth were able to sort of get chances and create chances against them is a thing, I guess. But, City are gonna fucking run away with this year, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah, they should, really.
I don't see any other way this goes down.
No, and especially given like their run now that they've got Brighton, Norwich, Watford, Everton, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Villa, Southampton.
Wow.
Like,
oof.
That's 7 weeks of 3 points right there.
They could be 10 points clear by the end of that run.
Yeah, which is what we said that you'd assume Pep would aim to do so that he could concentrate more on the Champions League this year. Or at least, well, not that he didn't concentrate on it before, but rest some players more in Premier League games than they need to, because that takes you up to the beginning of November then. And then obviously you've got the December schedule where it's a bit busier, especially over the turn of the new year.
Yeah, although they have the squad depth to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, are there any other matches you want to talk about? Or any other storylines from the weekend that popped up?
Okay, let's go from top to bottom. Villa-Everton. This is the Everton that I was kind of talking about before, that I'd be worried to be Marco Silva, because they got a draw against Palace and they got the win last week against Watford, but Palace haven't really looked good so far. Watford have been diabolical and are the only team on 0 points, and Villa, like I know they've done well, but with the amount of money Everton have spent and the squad they had anyway, like they should have blown them away. Like Everton should be on at least 6-7 points by now.
Yeah.
And it looks to be with Villa that they quite clearly know how they want to play, and the new signings have settled in really well. So maybe that's versus kind of Everton's approach of spending a load of money, even though Villa signed a ton of people.
All 3 promoted sides have looked really good so far.
Yeah.
I could see this year being one of the years where they all 3 stay up.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten the points, but they've had great performances.
I think out of the 3, maybe actually Norwich, I think are the ones that are kind of the most sustainable. I think Sheffield United can go one of 2 ways. Either this weird centre-back thing works forever and teams just don't learn, like the year Leicester won the league, where after the halfway point everyone knew what Leicester were about, but they just couldn't stop it. And that was weird. But it could be like that, or Sheffield United will just get found out really soon. Teams will know how to exploit the centre-backs bombing forward, which I guess once they just come up against a really good, well-marshalled defence, they can just play the ball over the top. And then they'll get in a bit of trouble and they'll fire Chris Wilder, and then they'll get Sam Allardyce in, and then they'll play 4-4-2.
All right, you heard it here first, ladies and gents.
There you go.
Yeah, Sheffield, to their credit, again, it's super early in the season, sample size, etc., but Sheffield, to their credit, are above Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal on expected points so far. They're in fourth or fifth behind City, United, Liverpool, and about even with Southampton. So, the table lies early, but that's still, you should give them credit for that.
Oh, no, I do, but I just think it's the way that Norwich play. You watch Norwich going forward, and it looks incredibly dangerous, like a really solid, fast, counter-attacking, high-pressing team. And I just think altogether it's a bit more sustainable, maybe.
Yeah, I do see that.
That's just kind of what I think. But I think you're right. There is scope for all three of these teams to, again, pinch of salt, early days, but all three of them to stay up. But going down the rest of the games, forgot about this one. Brighton 0, Southampton 2. Don't really need to talk about that one, do we? That's just
no, two
shit South Coast teams.
There you go. That's all that needs to be said.
Yep. The aforementioned Sheffield United narrowly lost to Leicester 2-1. I think they went ahead in that game as well. And Leicester just came back and absolutely smashed them. They've looked really good. Barnes, fuck me, that man can hit a football. And Jamie Vardy doing his classic best to rile up Sheffield United fans or opposition fans. And James Maddison is looking amazing.
He is. He's a really, really good player. There's no other way to say that.
Yeah. And but Brendan Rodgers, the way he plays is so much more different to the way Puel played and Ranieri before and Craig Shakespeare in between, that it's actually quite exciting watching Leicester again. They're much less of a pragmatic team, and it's just we've got great attacking players, so away we go.
I do worry with the drop in quality from Chelsea this year and Arsenal and Tottenham looking how they look, that Leicester could sneak into the top 6. Mm-hmm. They look legit.
Yeah, we said before, it depends how it goes. Everton, Leicester could easily go up there, and at the minute it's definitely looking like Leicester more than Everton, because they seem to get it. They seem to get the way they have to play, and it's not, I've said it before, I think Marco Silva's quite overrated as a manager, and I think Brendan Rodgers got a bit of a short end of the stick with what he did at Liverpool.
I think he was really good at Liverpool. Yeah. I don't know that Klopp had, at least until more recently, been any better, and you could argue that Klopp just has more time and higher overall talent. Obviously, no one's to the level of Suarez, but...
No, but he had more time. He's had way more time. He's had way more backing in transfer windows because there's been more, and Brendan Rodgers had to inherit a squad where I think wasn't his striker Ricky Lambert at that point?
Yes.
Because it was after Roy Hodgson, so,
Hard times.
Yeah. Then we've got Watford losing 3-1 to West Ham. Sebastien Haller, the French.
Debut goal, right?
Those were his first 2 goals for the club. And, you want your second goal to be an overhead kick in the box after you've attempted a Chun-Li reverse spinning bird kick in the first half to try and heel it back. And oh my, that was... Those are
the types of shots that are sustainable through an entire season. So
they are,
that bodes well for West Ham.
I mean, they are if potentially you're a ninja.
Or Zlatan. Zlatan genuinely could do that on a regular basis, but no one else. So unless Haller is the second coming of the young Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I don't...
Well, he could be martial arts trained, because that's why Zlatan does all those ridiculous kicks, is because I think he's got a black belt in a couple of martial arts.
Yeah, I know Taekwondo is one of them.
Taekwondo, that's when you just kick computers.
Boo!
But yeah, don't really want to talk about a W derby.
I How about let's get to some Predictor League and some listener games and stuff.
Predictor League, League of Predictions is back for a second season. Something has happened, I don't understand. I can't click on the right tab. The world's gone mad because Oscar is first.
What?
You're top, buddy. You're top. Shit. You're top, and Ian's last. It's the world has gone topsy-turvy. It's fucked. It's Brexit. It's nuking hurricanes. Everything is fucked.
I think that we should just end the season here, and I think that we should just go ahead and crown our victor today.
Oscar, it's week 3, bro.
No, I'm champion.
It's week... No, you're not champion. It's week... Oh, for fuck's sake. If you keep doing this, I'm just not going to mention it every week.
I've had my dick. I'm fist bumping so hard right now.
You had your dick? What? You had your dick what?
Alright. There you go. Well, you know what else on top of is our fantasy draft. Our fantasy league. The FPL league with just the 3 of us. Top, baby! I'm the champion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, this is just hollow, isn't it? But yeah, Predictor League, Ian and Carmen are at the bottom, 17th and 18th. We then got a very mixed bag through Jack Saunders, Johnny Worthington. Stimson the Younger is in 14th with Padfall and me. So at least I'm not losing to a child. Then we got Dan Parkinson, Adam P, Lynn, Dave Mateo, Johnny OG, FPL Nicola, Emily, Momo, FPL, and Joe Bloom make up 3rd spot, Van Dam Sambi 2nd, and Oscar's 1st.
Woo woo!
Worst to first.
All day, baby. We're ending it here. That's it. I get the gift card. Everyone else can fuck off.
No, we're not. You're not getting
shit. And
it's
done. I'm just saying, with Stimmer's 4 points behind me in FPL, you are 36 behind me in FPL.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
And I'm top of the Predictor League. Chelsea players are young and exciting and scoring goals. So I think we'll end the podcast there. Done. Thank you for joining us on Miles Offside. We will never come back. There will be no more episodes. We will not be back after the international break. It's been a good run, ladies and gentlemen.
We will be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. I'll probably finish in last place by the end of the year.
By the end of next week, you'll be last.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a crazy table this time of year. Everyone's on 4 points, so that's really all it takes is for me to be good at predictions. Is if everyone's equal, then, you know.
You get 5 points. That's all. That's all you need.
Done. All right, well, that's enough for the Predictor League then. We'll leave it there, and let's go to our FPL team. Not my FPL team, but our FPL team.
Yeah, you've already mentioned your fucking FPL team. Enough. I've had enough. We had quite a good week. 63 points. We took a -4 hit because I can't remember why. I think I was drunk. And I just wanted some players in. Maybe I switched the wrong team. I don't know. But we had Van Aanholt, Pulisic, Martial, Sterling, De Bruyne, and Pookie all do the business for us. Oh, and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Pookie looks so good.
Pookie does look good.
He was all over Chelsea. A goal and assist.
He done 29 goals last season. This season, he has already done 5.
Wow.
That's pretty fucking good. And this is the thing as well, FBL nerd-wise, you look at his fixtures coming up and he's got West Ham, Man City, Burnley, Palace, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Man United, Brighton, Watford, blah, 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 blah. But, he's just scored against Chelsea and Liverpool. So he's gone up 5.5 million already in the game. He's now 35% owned from being 2% owned at the beginning. It is amazing. Get him in your team, quick.
Yeah, I'm on my wild card this week, and if I hadn't already had him from day one, because I have had him from day one because I'm so good at Fantasy Premier League.
No,
I would be bringing
it's
him
not
in.
because you're good. It's just because you were sensible and listened to... Well, no, you just backed everything that the 3 of us said that Pookie would be good, and you were just the only one to get him in.
There you go. Yeah.
God, that felt so wrong calling you the sensible one. Fuck.
It feels good. It feels good to be me.
But yeah, we've got... I don't really want an Everton defender Moist Ken isn't really doing anything.
Nope.
Don't like Josh King. Don't like Bournemouth. And we got 0.5 million in the bank, so we've got some suggestions. We'll pop those out to you.
Well, I do think the reason I wildcarded, and I do think this is now it's the time to start getting on Chelsea players. Now that we know what the lineup is, who's going to be playing regularly, Tammy looks like he's secured the number 9. Mount looks like he's going to be solidly in the midfield, at least until Ruben comes back, which is not till like January.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to start picking up some more Chelsea players.
Okay, so if you could make one move in this team, then what would it be?
Well, I think like looking at the team, we look a little bit like it doesn't look very flexible. I think a lot of our funds are tied up in very, very few players. So I know that like it's not at all the popular answer right now, but I would downgrade De Bruyne to free up money for somewhere else.
You fucking what? No, we just got Kevin in. I think we just took -4 to get him in. Oh, well, that's your suggestion then, I guess. Yeah, we got...
This is what happens when you have a bunch of people running a team.
In it. All right, so who would you go from Kevin to whom?
Mount. Mason Mount, straight up. 6.2, banging in goals for Chelsea.
Okay. And
that's
then we
so
have
much money to free up.
3.8 million, in fact.
Yeah, there you go. And that we could spread that out across the front line, which could use some work. The back line could do some work. Like this team, the midfield looks pretty set.
It needs work. See, I'm not sure because there's the Martial thing, which he definitely won't play this week, apparently.
Yeah.
And then he's got some all right, but I'd quite like to get Maddison in. So I'm going to go Martial to Maddison.
Martial's given me a headache because he's been in my team for a few weeks, and I'm obviously on a wild card. So I don't want to lose the discount I have on him, but
right, okay.
Unclear what his fucking injury is. Like, they won't give us any information. Ben Dinnery doesn't even know, so...
No, they are keeping very, very quiet about it. It just doesn't feel... I don't know, could we wildcard?
No, that seems excessive.
Because it's not...
I would save that maybe till the international break.
I think the problem we're in is that it's just a lot of sideways moves. Anyway, we'll discuss this later, but I'm going to say Martial to Maddison... Oscar's saying De Bruyne to Mason Mount, and then Ian will say something.
Yeah, and we'll put that out on the socials, and you guys can vote, and hopefully this time we'll actually make the transfers that you vote for, Chuck.
It's not my fault. Okay, so I was drunk. Right, fair enough. And I fell asleep. Fair enough. But I set an alarm for about 11:30 that evening, if not midnight, and I opened Twitter. I looked on the app, at the poll, and it was still a tie. So I just went, fuck this, and went to sleep.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's all right. I got my own way, so that's fine.
So we'll just see where it goes. Hopefully we have a good season. We'll put that out on the socials. Do you want to take a look at next week's fixtures real quick, and then we'll wrap it up?
Ooh, okay. Real quick? You want me to...
Yeah, like genuinely quick. Yeah.
Not like one breath, like actually talk about it.
No, like Animaniacs style.
Southampton United, Chelsea, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Leicester, play Bournemouth, Man City, and Brighton and Newcastle, Watford, West Ham and Norwich, Burnley, Liverpool, Everton, Wolverhampton, Arsenal, Spurs, the North London Derby. Condolences to Bury.
Nice, well done. I'll pick one match from that I think is exciting, and I won't just go North London Derby, obviously. And I think that Burnley-Liverpool could actually be interesting. Burnley have had some weird results.
I was just about to say I want to see Burnley do a Burnley on Liverpool, and the Burnley is Burnley way.
Yeah, that'd be delightful.
I'm gonna see... There's some good matchups, but not really like anything super inspiring this week.
No, that's true. Everton Wolves could be another like one of those that decides mid-table.
Yeah, like Everton Wolves, that'll be a really good game. Like that can be a really good game. West Ham Norwich, that can be a really good game. It's not Newcastle Watford because they are both shit.
Fast forward to a 5-5.
Yeah, maybe. Man City Brighton, that's just going to be a dicking, isn't it?
Yep.
So I think Leicester Bournemouth,
yeah.
with one eye on Chelsea Sheffield United for you, because I think that could be a test for both of the teams where Sheffield play this defensive overlap to put them as kind of inside forward centre backs against Chelsea, who have looked very, very bad without the ball.
Correct.
That hopefully Chelsea can come through that still with 3 points, especially at Bridge.
Yep. And I'm going to be in Pennsylvania this weekend, which is home state of Captain America, Christian Pulisic. And so I'm hoping he can get his Chelsea goal this weekend, and I can celebrate in style in Philadelphia with, his peoples. But,
and then you can, go lick the Liberty Bell or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be doing that anyway, but hopefully
okay, cool.
I can do it in celebration and not in mourning. So.
Cool.
All right, well, that'll do it this week. Ian, we miss you. We hope you're having a lovely holiday.
I hate you.
And we'll see you guys soon. So thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for being here, Oscar. And helping me to retain my Mr. 100% title. Bye.
Bye.